Hello, and welcome to my Bloodborne game review. Bloodborne has been out for some time, but even though I had started the game many times before and gotten wrecked, I have never fully committed myself to beating this game. So yes, I have completed the game once, as I am creating this review, and I know I have a long way to go before I truly beat the game. This is not that type of video. I'll address things in more detail later. Bloodborne was released back in 2015, and rumor has it the sequel to the game is in the works and to be released for the PlayStation 5. So, with these rumors floating around the internet, my interest in Bloodborne surfaced once again. I feel it's important to get this off my chest. I have owned Bloodborne for quite some time. You may be asking, if you've owned the game for so long, why did you beat it 5 years after it released? Well, I would play the game, make progress, die, get set back, and honestly, I had no idea what the end goal was and how far I was from making any progress. So after all this time, I decided to look for some assistance in the Bloodborne community. And I'm so happy I did. Most members are willing to give a helping hand with tips on how to progress in the game. I watched videos that had story spoilers, and you know what? That didn't affect my experience with this game. Each person's experience with this game can vary so drastically, it really doesn't matter much if you get help with some stuff online. Getting help is better than putting down the game and not playing it anymore. So my point is, if you are stuck, get help. If you are lost, get help. There is no shame in that. Once you get the hang of things, you'll find yourself more self-reliant and making progress in no time. Okay, so let's actually get into the game review. Okay, so this game has some of the best cinematic scenes, even though they are rare throughout your play of the game. When you do get one, it sets the mood and is a treat to the eyes. Let's move on to in-game graphics. Now, for in-game graphics, this is a PlayStation exclusive, originally made for the base PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 Pro was released shortly after this game was made in 2016. Sadly, this game never got a PlayStation 4 Pro patch. So this game has no HDR support and plays at 1080p, locked at 30 frames per second. And at times struggles to maintain a solid 30 frames per second. This can be an issue and can pull you out of the moment and add to the frustration of an already hard game. This game can be very dark at times and could have benefited from HDR support. I found myself turning on my lamp anytime I would go indoors, but I think that was by design. This game can be very scary and isn't above jumpscare.
Oh, Jesus! Holy shit. Oh, that's... Oh, God. Okay. Okay. We'll come back. Come back later. We'll come back later. Oh, we will come back. Oh my God, you fucking bastard. Oh my God. Fucking jump scare city, dude.
Let's move on to gameplay. So, if you are new to Bloodborne, I definitely recommend you watch a tutorial video on gameplay. Because once I mastered transformative attacks, this made the game much more enjoyable. What's a transformative attack, you say? Well, every weapon you get in Bloodborne has 2 modes that you can switch between by pressing L1. A transformative attack is when you switch modes to enhance a combo. Like many Soul-like games, you have a stamina bar. You use stamina by attacking, running, rolling, and sidestepping. Some moves use more stamina than others. You have light and heavy attacks. You can also use the transformative attacks that I mentioned earlier, which usually let you get more hits in while using less stamina. You can also perform visceral attacks that can be performed on staggered enemies. If your stats are right, this can do massive amount of damage and are very satisfying to perform. Not all enemies can be staggered though, which brings us to our next gameplay element, your gun. This is mainly used to parry enemies. If you time your shot right, the enemy will be staggered and you can move in for a high damage visceral attack. So even though I have gone over quite a bit, I'm barely scratching the surface of all the elements that goes into gameplay. In short, the game can be very complex. That's why I recommend you watch a tutorial video. I've only just touched on the basics. In closing this section of the review, I have yet to experience all the methods of gameplay, which to me gives this game great replayability. When you first start this game, every enemy feels like a mini boss. And when you actually fight a boss, you are scared shitless. I remember having such a hard time just fighting the werewolves, which later in the game you fight a whole city of. When I got to the real boss and saw that big health bar, hell yeah, I was intimidated. But that's where this game shines. The more you play and master the game and its mechanics, the easier it gets, and you feel a real sense of accomplishment when you slay a boss. Yes, there is frustration when an enemy kills you in one hit, or when you get staggered and can't do anything and just have to deal with the ponage of that enemy with a total bullshit moveset. It's overcoming all these things and seeing how much you have progressed as a player that truly makes these encounters great. That feeling of holy shit, I actually did it. The who's your daddy now moment. Let's talk about the story of Bloodborne. To me, this can vary in a lot of ways. Like I said earlier, there are not many cutscenes. So unlike Metal Gear Solid, the story isn't just thrown at you all at once in 9 hours of cutscenes. You get the story from talking to people around the town and from items you find in the game. So you can actually miss part of the story if you don't pay attention. To me, that's an issue. I literally beat the game without fighting against some bosses and didn't get to see the end of some of the side character storylines. It's not like if I did this intentionally, it's just how my game played out. Yes, this game is not on rails, which is good. But there is a downside to that as well. You may miss important story plot points. If someone just plays through the game once, they might only get 50% of the story and not be satisfied. I'm just setting expectations, because I'm definitely going to have to replay this game again to get the full picture. And that's actually how the game was designed, as it has multiple endings. This game is very mysterious to start, and has you wanting to know what happened to this town. As you peel back the layers, you get drawn in more and more. I've watched many lore videos, which I also recommend, that help me appreciate the game more. So in the end, once you do get the story, it is definitely worth it. The concept for this game is great. It definitely has a dark vibe and can be very scary at times. The game is a bit old and can feel a little dated in 2020. But this didn't affect my overall experience with the game. Gameplay is very complex and can be customized to many different playstyles. You can get lost at times and get stuck in areas without knowing how to progress. At times this can be harder to deal with than the bosses. You have to dig for the story, but once you uncover it, it's amazing. Great replayability with new characters. Maybe not so much on New Game Plus, as all New Game Plus does is make the game harder. Now for my score on the game. I was leaning toward a 7, but I'm going to give this game an 8 because I know my next playthrough of the game will just improve my experience now that I know what I have to do and how to beat the enemies. I look forward to this game's sequel and will definitely be picking it up. If you don't have this game, I would put this on my must playlist. And if you do have the game but have been putting off playing it, I hope this video has inspired you to give it a go. I want to thank all of the Bloodborne community. I couldn't have beat this game without you.